Are very happy to have you rejoining us here in our general session or joining us for the first time today, if that's the case. We are going to ask you, if you don't mind, to drop your name, location, and affiliation over in the chat for us so that we have an indication of who else here with us. For those of you who weren't in the morning session, I'm Harriet Edwards. I'm here at NC State University, where our First Military Partnership Professional Development and Technical Assistance Project is administered. And so we are excited to be coming in from a series of workshops and seminars this afternoon. We've had some concurrent sessions, and we are beyond excited to have with us a group of teenagers. And I get to introduce the leader for that today. I'm going to kind of be our moderator for the panel. I am going to ask you a couple of things. First of all, please do sign in if you haven't done that. Please jump over there and sign in the chat. We also are going to ask you if you are not speaking with the presenters directly, if you will keep your microphone on mute. That helps us to preserve the quality of the recording. We are recording. So if you do not want to be recorded, please make sure your camera is off and that you do not speak, because we are doing audio and video recordings. The teens have asked that if we have questions as they go, they are happy to answer questions at the end. They already have some questions they're going to be dealing with, but they are asking that if you have a question that you drop it in the chat. Jenny, who is our Navy 4-H Youth Development Specialist, is going to be producing and managing for them in the background. And so she is going to monitor for questions and will feed them to Tay as we get on over in the session and have an opportunity for them to answer additional questions from you. So without further remiss, I am going to introduce our moderator for the panel. Tay, I'm convinced is going to be president one day. I just know he is. And so I'm excited to have him with us today. We've been trying for like 4 years, Tay, to have you as our moderator for our team panel. So we're excited that you're here. Tay comes to us from a small town called Ringgold, Louisiana, where he grew up as the son of a National Guardsman who served our country with two deployments to the Middle East. And so Tay knows what it means to worry about his service member during a deployment. And during one of those deployments, we had the amazing blessing that Tay participated in 4-H and immediately became president of his first 4-H club, and then actually became president of the Louisiana State 4-H program. And he has served at National 4-H Council on their Youth Alumni Advisory Committee, and he's also been on the National 4-H Council Board. And so he continues to serve 4-H. And as if studying one subject wasn't enough, Tay graduated from LSU with a degree in both political science and one in music. And so that means for Tay that he's all about finding your voice and hitting the right note with that voice. So we're excited to have you with us, Tay, to do the work that comes with moderating a panel. He was named as an Harry S. Truman Scholar and a John Robert Lewis Scholar, and so he comes to us with amazing credentials, and he is quite an incredible young man. Tay is a research and policy associate at the Aspen Institute, where he continues to focus on public education, positive youth development, community engagement, and shaping policies that affect young people. Tay's journey is one that reminds us that 4-H isn't just about preparing young people for what's next. It's helping them to find a voice and to shape what comes next. And so we're excited, Tay, to have you with us. And so with that, I'm going to ask you to take it away.
Thank you so much, Miss Harriet, and it's such an honor to be here today to moderate this exquisite panel that we're going to have with some exceptional young people. And so I come to this work today not just, as the moderator, but as a young person who was military connected myself and also involved in 4-H. And as Harriet shared, following my dad's deployment, 4-H really transformed my life from a shy kid to a confident leader. And I would have never imagined as a little kid in small Ringgold, Louisiana, in a town of under 1,300 people, a class of under 23 people. One day, attending National 4-H conference here in Washington, D.C., and now living and working here. I would have never imagined that we would make that full circle. And so it's really a privilege for me to be able to moderate this conversation. And the impact that this program, the 4-H program, and especially the programs that are offered through military service, are second to none, really, in the world, y'all. And you're going to hear more about that from the exceptional young leaders who are on our panel this afternoon. So, with that, I would love to introduce and bring those panelists to the forefront here. We have with us Braxton and Kara and Isabella, and these young people represent military families across the country, and some even have been across the world at times in their lives. And so I see Braxton first on the screen. So, Braxton, why don't we start with you? If you could just introduce yourself and share a little bit about where you call home and describe your military connection.
Hi, yes. Thank you, Mr. Tay. Hi, I'm Braxton. I currently live in Virginia Beach, where I am vice president of the 4-H Club at Joint Expeditionary Base Little Creek, Fort Story. And a little bit about my 4-H journey. I started off in Virginia Beach at Joint Expeditionary Base back in first grade, I think, where I was a little clover bud. And then my mom got deployed to Naples, Italy, where I continued my 4-H journey. And then as I continued growing, we moved back to Virginia Beach, luckily for me, where I got to continue my 4-H journey back here in Virginia Beach, where I started it all.
That's amazing, Braxton, and thank you for joining us today. And now over to you, Kara.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Kara Wardlaw. I have been in 4-H for 8 years. I am a sophomore at high school. I am from Oklahoma, and my dad was a full-time guardman with the Oklahoma Air National Guard. I do dance. I have a second degree black belt in karate.
That's great, Kara. And now over to you, Isabella.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Isabella. I'm a senior in homeschool. While I don't have any family in the military, I'm strongly connected to the Air Force through Civil Air Patrol. Our squadron meets on the Air Force Base every Thursday. From there, I help my cadets under me get pilot training, ground service training, anything they need. I am New Mexico State 4-H ambassador, a military ambassador for 2026, 2027. And while I'm not doing that, I love my livestock. I love my rocketry. Thank you.
So, as you can see, folks, we have a stellar group of young folks who are here with us to not only share their story, but to talk about the impact this program has had on themselves, and to give us all some extra energy and renewal as we continue this work forward. And so, to dive into the conversation, Kara, when we were in the breakout session earlier, you mentioned that you joined 4-H. I believe you went to your first 4-H event at the age of 5. Is that right? 4 or 5 years old. Maybe tell us how you became involved in 4-H, and tell us a bit more about your military youth program too.
Yes, sir. So, as he said, my very first 4-H event was whenever I was 5 years old, and we actually went to the 4-H Air Force family camp, and it was a lot of fun. I got in 4-H because my aunt was in 4-H and my mom was in 4-H, and then my sister joined, and I thought it was so cool and how many amazing people they were meeting. And I was like, I want to be a part of that amazing organization. And then as I got in and as I got older, I started gaining more leadership roles.
So 4-H really is a family affair, huh?
Yes, sir.
And it gives you opportunities out of this world and across the world too. And speaking of which, Braxton, I would love to hear from you. What have you learned about how 4-H really differs across different states and communities and countries, even your involvement there in Italy? Tell us some about that.
I believe 4-H really molds to its environment. I remember back in Italy, we would go on more trips around town where we learn about Italian culture compared to here where we're focused more on helping and supporting those around us. But one thing that stays consistent in 4-H is it's a family. Everybody's connected through something. I think it's somewhere where everybody can go to learn and grow.
And I believe you mentioned in our breakout session before too that you went to your first 4-H event at a pretty young age as well. You mentioned some in your bio. Maybe tell us how you got started and active in the program.
So when I was younger, I went to the local CYP program, and there, one of my mentors and somebody who I looked up to greatly was a part of 4-H. And then they had introduced me to it, and it gave me an outlet where I could be surrounded by like-minded kids.
And that's great to hear, Braxton, how you've continued being involved even as your family has transitioned across the globe as well. Isabella, tell us about how you got started in the program. You mentioned just a bit of it during your introduction, but tell us, how you're involved in 4-H these days.
So I started, well, probably when I was in kindergarten, so 5 years old. I started in the after school program. My first, actually, just a little. I still remember my first project. It was the corn husk stall that got entered into the state fair because we did all that together, our whole class. After that, I just really stayed in the program until I finished that middle school. So from kindergarten to eighth grade. And then after that, we decided homeschool, and it kind of got really hard to keep participating in 4-H until I found my club, Mountain Heights 4-H Club in Bernalillo, New Mexico, Bernalillo, Albuquerque. And after that, it just started becoming like a second home after Civil Air Patrol. It was really nice.
Yeah, and Isabella, you mentioned that it was hard at you at one point in your life, to stay involved in the program. Can you share really, I guess, what grabbed your attention about 4-H, and what do you see teens wanting to be involved in today? Is that still the same from when you were deciding if you would be involved?
I don't think it's the same. I was really involved for the arts and crafts. I do see that as I volunteered to set up youth hall for our state fair. I do see a lot of jewelry come in. I see a lot of arts and crafts, sorry, a lot of portraits, paintings, all that. So while that stays the same, I feel like we've gotten more involved in more like, how do I say it? Like animals. I never saw myself showing a goat one day because even if I lived in a rural community, I never had the opportunity to show any kind of livestock. But as my view shifted and as the world has kind of shifted, I see more opportunities, more interest in livestock, and kind of broadening your perspective away from just arts and crafts and things that you can do inside your home.
Yeah, it sounds like the program really expanded your vision of what was possible, right? And gave you these tangible skills as well, that you can take forward with you in whatever career you choose. Kara, you spoke earlier about how you were involved. I believe it was karate, is that right? Y'all are involved in so many activities. So tell me, what are some of the skills that you've learned through the 4-H program, and why do you choose to still participate in 4-H when you have so many other activities that you could be a part of as well?
Yes, I feel like time management is a big one, especially whenever you're doing Zoom meetings all across and everyone has different time zones and making sure you're getting to a meeting on time. A few other life skills that I've learned is public speaking. It's really important to get to know your audience and really make sure that you're able to communicate with other people. And working as a team and learning when to lead and when to follow are some of the most important life skills that I have learned through 4-H because it is just as important to be a good leader as it is to be a good follower.
That is so true. And I'll add to that, communication is a huge skill that no doubt you all have learned and continue to refining through your involvement in the program. Since you mentioned leadership though, Kara, let's kick it over to Braxton. Braxton, you are the vice president of your 4-H club on base, is that correct? And you've been involved in 4-H since you were a Clover Bud. Tell me about some of the leadership skills that you've learned through being involved in the program.
Like Kara said, one of the biggest leadership skills I've learned is knowing when to listen and when to take charge and lead, but also how to work up other people in a sense of mutual respect. I believe as a leader, if you're not treating everybody with the type of respect you would want, it's hard for people to follow you and listen to what you're saying. So I believe that if all leaders lead by respecting those who follow them, I believe that's how we be a good leader.
Yeah, and I imagine you are all involved in very robust programs. You've gained these skills, but you're also able to talk to other young people, about how they can get involved as well. And on the National 4-H Council Board of Trustees, we have lots of conversations about how we can get more individuals, more young people, more families involved in the program. What's like your advice there? What should adult leaders be thinking about if they want teens to remain engaged in 4-H programs? And maybe Kara, if you could kick us off with that.
Yes. So, sorry, could you repeat it just like one more time?
Yeah, we've been thinking a lot about how we can get more young people involved in 4-H. From your experience, what are things that these adult leaders on the call should be thinking about if they want their teens to remain engaged in the programs?
Yes. So I think something that everyone always loves to do and always like helps get people attention is hands-on activities. And it's just everyone likes to do a fun craft, whether they're little kids or adults. I know every time I teach a workshop, I like to make sure they're staying engaged and whether they're playing a fun game or making a craft that goes along with the lesson. I think it's really important to help keep their focus and to really help make sure that they're understanding. Because all work and no play makes us a dull person.
That is so true. And we need more fun in our lives, right? Life is so dull now. And if you watch the news every day, you'll turn out, being like down in the dumps. And so young people need like opportunities to learn these tangible skills and really get in there, and adventure and explore the world around them. Isabella, from your perspective, what are some things that adults should be thinking about if they want young people to remain engaged in 4-H programs?
I really liked Kara's. Sorry, how do you say your name? Kara?
Yeah,
I
it's
really,
Sarah.
really liked your point. I teach again in my Civil Air Patrol. I am the aerospace cadet, so that means I have to come up with curriculum every other week or every other 3 weeks about a topic in aerospace. And something that I've really learned is that yeah, you can lecture all you want, and some people learn like that. But after you lecture, there has to be some way for them to grasp it. They're gonna have to I do a lot of hands-on. So, for example, one of my lessons was about flight, the four forces of flight. After I teach them that, what next? A worksheet? I mean, that's kind of not really. They already have so much school to continue on doing. They already have worksheets to do from school. So I think really just a project, just glue stick, paper, popsicle sticks is really a lot of fun and really just the way to teach. I really like getting away from A equals B. A can be A equals B, and then after that, let's learn how to connect it to real world stuff.
Yeah, so huge consensus here that we need to really lean into learning by doing and offering those experiential learning opportunities for young people. On the flip side of that, Braxton, are there any barriers that you see that young people maybe in your club or that you've seen even from your travels? What barriers exist for young people to not participate in 4-H?
I believe one of the largest barriers is getting out there. A lot of youth nowadays feel so trapped, like they're in this cocoon, and they don't really embrace themselves. They try to fit into what's cool and what they think other people are going to like instead of what they like. And then that leads to people making wrong decisions and going down path that wasn't for them when really they just didn't choose the right thing. I believe every kid is a flower that can bloom, and just because one doesn't bloom with a lot of water and blooms in the darkness doesn't mean they're any worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a beautiful analogy, Braxton. It reveals the great diversity that we have. Young people, no two young people are the same. And it even like reminds me a bit about our like 4-H thriving youth model, that kind of looks like the flower. We're all plants of sorts, that are growing. And we're on this journey together. Kara, we've gotten a question from the crowd that we'll go ahead and hit right now. What life skills did you learn in karate that helped you with 4-H and vice versa? While we're still talking about the skills building part.
Yes, so a big part about karate is number one, self-defense. But number two is learning how to work with a team. That's one of the biggest things that I've taken from karate is learning how to work with each other and how to get along with your peers. Even if you're grouped together with someone you're maybe not as familiar with, or maybe you don't know. Maybe you get separated into a group and you're not with your friend. It's really important to work with the people you have and be grateful with the people you have because everyone has unique skills and capabilities to offer. So make sure you take advantage of what others have to offer.
That's beautiful, Kara. And teamwork is so important, not only for young people working together, but also young people and adults working together. And we all know that that's a major pillar of the 4-H work and the military connected youth work as well. And so this is an open question. Whoever wants to answer this one can, but how can adults design programming so that young people feel like their opinions actually matter when they're working with adults? Braxton, you
I'll
can go
answer
ahead.
that one. One thing I like to do whenever I'm mentoring younger youth is at the end of every lesson or activity, I like to go around and ask them how they feel about it and take actual notes. Because what I learned is their reviews or like what they say back is something I can improve on or change for the next time I do something. Say they want it to be more hands on, I can make the next meeting plan more hands on. Or say they want more instruction time so they can really learn the material and then a little bit less hands on activity. Not always they don't always want more activity, but sometimes they actually want to learn more and like get more instruction. So that's one thing I've learned, actually like having a review with them afterwards.
Really taking the time and to make it individualized. Kara, were you going to add on to that? Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yes, so I am also a state STEM innovator, and as a state STEM innovator, we work with adult partners and develop programs like our STEM for Y'all conference. And our team of teens are responsible for planning the activities and workshops. And the adult partners really help us organize and schedule, and really help us keep all together so we don't go crazy.
Yeah, so I guess to build on that just a bit, Kara, and I know that you've been a district representative too on the Oklahoma State 4-H Council, is that right? I would love for you to share. You shared a bit about this camp that y'all run, but also can you share maybe a time where you really felt like an adult heard your voice, and you felt like a true partner when working with adults?
Yes, sir. So, I serve on a variety of state levels. As I said, I'm a state STEM innovator. I'm also a state 4-H Healthy Living ambassador, and I was recently selected to serve as the Northeast District representative for Oklahoma. And a time that I feel like I was really heard by an adult was probably at one of our Healthy Living conferences. And I was talking with some of the adult partners. And I was like, hey, I think it'd be really good if we started making videos or adding into a workshop and everything. And they were like, you know what, that sounds like an amazing idea. And we could really help get more people into the healthy living side of things. And it was really cool to see how it felt like I had got matured like 10 times more, really working with all these different adult partners and learning so much. And especially learning about their 4-H experience and what they did whenever they were younger and how excited they're wanting to work with us now.
Mm. You can learn so much through that intergenerational collaboration, right? And it makes the experience more powerful and the deliverable is higher quality as well. So thank you for sharing that, Kara.
Yes,
And
sir.
Isabella, what does authentic youth adult partnership look and feel like for you?
What it looks like and feels like to me. Hmm. I do get a lot of it, because in our Civil Air Patrol, senior members and cadets alike go on our missions, so called. And what it, we just listen to each other. No one is, I mean, age does equal wisdom, but at the same time, we're all in the classroom together at some point. We're all learning the same thing. And whether you knew it already or you didn't, um, I mean, after you know it, how do I say this? It's more like, hmm, I'm having a really hard, but you know what? That's what it is to me. Yeah,
Yeah, we're all
sorry.
we're all learning together. That's kind of what I'm picking up from you. You know, we're all in this together. We're learning. Adults are learning alongside young people. And so we're all students in a sense. Is that right? Is that spot on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Braxton, you talked a bit earlier about some of the skills you've learned, the experiences that you've had through your leadership position. Can you share like an opportunity that you've had working alongside an adult and what went really well? And also what maybe didn't go so well, if you want to share as well.
So, as I'm also a part of the Boys and Girls Club, one thing that I was recently able to be a part of is Military Youth of the Year. And I was able to work closely and connected with my teen coordinator, Miss V. And throughout that, we had to write essays and reviews and do a speech. And through that, she helped me grow with my like public speaking capabilities and also my writing. But I'd say one of the biggest takebacks I can get from that is when adults are working with youth, not always sugarcoating everything. We live in a world, in a society where everything's real. And by her being able to tell me stuff straightforward, I believe I was able to learn and take more from it rather than her sugarcoating everything and treating me like a kid.
That's spot on, Braxton. It's so necessary for us to have those honest conversations. And adults need to realize too that they don't always have to, baby young people. Like you're prepared to be leaders today, and so treat you like leaders today. Kara or Isabella, do you also have some feedback on things that maybe adults should stop doing to increase youth engagement in their programs?
I don't think so. I don't really have any opinions on that. I will say though that you're doing an amazing job just like getting all of those youth in and doing what you can. And especially even if you're just trying to teach a workshop or even if you're putting in the effort to talk to the kids and make them feel known and put on a workshop for them, you're doing more than enough. You're doing above and beyond.
Thanks, Kara. Isabella, were you gonna add in there?
No, I think it was very well covered by the other people.
Alrighty. Well, I would love you have a very compelling story, Isabella, and you've been involved in a myriad of programs, many of which that you didn't even see yourself being involved in at one time. What would you say to encourage a peer or another young person to become involved in 4-H? What's like your elevator pitch?
I would say because I've been in the same situation and I am a very shy, introverted person. I really hate this coming from other people, but I can tell it to myself. Just put yourself out there. The worst someone is going to say is no, you can't do that, or no, that's not possible. And that's not even the worst because after that, you could just keep doing, keep trying. You could keep climbing higher than you think you can go. And I think that's really important to know your limits, but also know when to push them as well and know when to say, okay, you got this, or okay, you can definitely do this. Don't let anyone else tell you what you can and can't do.
That mentorship piece is so critical, folks. Thank you for sharing that, Isabella. Braxton, you also attended Ignite 4-H conference, I believe. I would love for you to share with the group some of the experiences that you had there and maybe some thoughts that people should think about on how to get military connected youth for in the 4-H program, interacting with other youth who aren't in 4-H.
So at the Ignite conference, one of the biggest takebacks I would have is everybody's 4-H experience is different. Me living in a larger city in a more urban area, I didn't get to participate as much in livestock. And when I went to the Ignite conference, I got to talk and meet other people, and that was a really cool thing to me, like how they get to say do something with goats. I don't want to say something that's not true, but like being able to meet other people and travel and like grow amongst them, I would say that was probably the best and coolest part about the Ignite conference because not everybody has the same background and has the same story. So you can always learn something from somebody else.
It's an amazing opportunity. Conference with hundreds of young people, once in a lifetime opportunity. So I'm really glad that you were able to go, Braxton, and happy to hear that you had a great experience as well. Kara or Isabella, are there any 4-H conferences or trips maybe that you've been on, either through military connections or just through the 4-H program generally, that really left a mark on you and that you'll always remember and take with you?
Yes, so I also got to go to the Ignite conference. I went as a state STEM innovator and we got to teach a workshop there. And it was a lot of fun, kind of like Braxton said, to get to know everyone there and learn about their different 4-H experiences. And it was just so amazing to see all of the amazing and nice people that are in the 4-H community and just people from all around the world and like what's different from in Kansas that's different from Oklahoma and just seeing all of the different projects and maybe even some of the different states have different projects and it was super cool to meet everyone and I'm hoping to go again.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Isabella, were you chiming
Oh,
in? I saw you on meeting.
um, although everyone's gone to it, and I mean not everyone, but it's kind of common. My first state conference really left a mark on me. Again, just putting yourself out there. Um, it was great. Just being, I think, I mean, one of the contests I do is meat judging. I mean, I'm not good at it, but just the feeling of knowing everyone in that freezer with you is trying to accomplish the same thing and you're not alone in this is just one of the best feelings.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Isabella, because I think it's important for us adults to remind ourselves that, it's great to have even the national conferences, but let's not overlook the transformative power of even programs that we offer right in our state, for young people, to learn about not only the differences between maybe urban and rural places, but also the similarities, and you gain so many friends that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. And so I'm glad that y'all had those wonderful experiences. Let's talk a bit about like your kind of identity as a military youth. The connection there, the belonging. Lots of research has been done in the past few years that really talks about the experiences of young people who are in military connected families. But we would like to hear, straight from you, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced that really only military connected young people or families in your communities go through that others may not be aware of?
I'll start it off. I'd say one of the challenges is the moving. I know we always talk about it, but packing up every 3 to 4 years and going somewhere different, that's it takes a toll on a youth. But one thing about military kids, we are very resilient. Getting to be in Virginia Beach, where there's such a combination of people from all across the world, people who've grown up here, is I've had the experience and the pleasure to meet all sorts of different people. And from that, I've gotten to relate my experience with other people and hear others And I just think that's such a great thing and something that all military youth are a part of and like connected in a way.
Thanks for sharing that, Brax.
I can go ahead and go next.
Yeah, Kara, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. So I feel like I bring a unique perspective to being a military youth. Most people don't really see me as a military child because my dad is on the guardsman, so we don't really move around. I've been in Oklahoma my whole life. And so I feel often disconnected from that community. And I would encourage you to keep in mind that our military kids, um, may not be what you traditionally think. Like they might not move around a lot. They may have just like stayed there the entire time, or like their mom or their dad or whoever is there, but they're still a military child. And they may not be on military bases either, but they're still in our mainstream programs. While our family members might not be on active duty, when they get called up for duties, they perform or just as valuable as the dangers are real. My family is a big support network for me, and 4-H has really helped me cope with the challenges of military youth because while my dad is guard, he has gotten deployed several times, missed several events, so still go through those same challenges.
Mhm. Yeah, and I can connect to that 100%, Kara. Kind of same situation with my dad being a National Guardsman too. And so, living my whole life there in Louisiana, it is a bit of a different military youth story, but no doubt we experience a lot of the same things through that. So thank you for sharing that
Yes,
perspective.
sir, of course.
Isabella, I believe you're very active in the Air Civil Patrol. Could you share some of your experiences there, and some of the challenges that you've seen from military connected young people?
Yes. My experiences and the challenges kind of connect actually. One of the biggest challenges is people believing that their kid can do it, surprisingly. So, Civil Air Patrol participates in ground services and um, NASA missions. Basically, the ground services are we go out looking for lost hikers, or we in an aircraft. It's called an ELT, an emergency location transmitter. If a plane lands too hard, that's gonna set off. And we, as a Civil Air Patrol, your team can be dispatched if that happens to go find it. One of the problems and challenges I find as I try and recruit and be like, hey, your kid can do this, or we can be in a team together, is like you're letting kids handle this equipment. You're letting kids go out with these 20-pound backpacks, and you're just letting them handle this high tech equipment designed for military. And the simple answer is yes. They're more than capable if they put their heart and hands and their service into it. If they believe in themselves, you should believe in them. That's one of my biggest challenges. And I don't really, I don't really connect to the moving around. I don't really connect to people with family in the services, but that's one of my huge challenges.
Yeah. And thank you for your service even there, Isabella, and for sharing those ways that you're really getting your peers and even adults to be active in this contribution part of 4-H, being active and giving back to your community, and seeing that you have the ability to make a change, no matter how great or how small that change may be. So another question for all of you, as you like look back on your experiences as military connected youth, are there any opportunities that you wish you had known about or that you would have been able to participate in that maybe you didn't know about or just weren't existent?
Is this as a broad like
It can
question?
be abroad. Yeah.
Um, in my experience, I've still participated in it, but I wish I'd known about it sooner. There is a lot of people willing to help out financially anyway. I mean, at least in the aviation community. Civil Air Patrol offers a scholarship for up to $20,000 to um, get your private pilot's license. That is something I'm like, ah, I wish I would have done it when I was younger. Also, just huge in the Air Force and aviation community. People out there, if you just talk to them, there's people out there that don't have family that are willing to continue that line of work, that are willing to uphold their hangar, their airplane, their way of life. And if you just, hey, how are you? I'm really interested in this. They're gonna help lend a helping hand if they want to, and they're probably gonna want to.
Mhm. That is great. Those skills building opportunities that you wish you would have known a lot more about. And even, like maybe the pushes to really reach out into the community and just build relationships with folks who just know things. Sometimes it's good to just talk to people who know stuff. No matter whether they're really older than you or moderately older than you. I guess while we're still on this conversation about your identity kind of as a military youth, what makes you proud to be a military connected young person? I would love to hear some words from y'all about that.
I said it earlier, but one thing that makes me proud to be a military connected youth is our resilience and our ability to bounce back throughout deployments and PCSing and everything that we go through, and how proud we are of our family and of our lineage. Not everybody gets to say, my mom is a captain in the Navy or my dad is an admiral. But I think just having that ability is something that we should all be proud of and acknowledge the weight that carries.
That pride and resilience is very commendable, Braxton. Thank you. Thank you. So, oh, go ahead, Kara. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with Braxton on the resilience and everything. One thing that I'm very proud of is that I'm super proud of to support this organization and be supported by this organization. I have had a service project where we made, like little toy green soldiers. And we turned them into ornaments and we gave them out to people who have served or families that have had members serve. And it's so cool to be in that community and to help support them in any way that is possible.
That sounds so cool, Kara, the way that you've been able to even extend that pride, to the broader community, in such a beautiful way too, with an ornament. Would love to hear more about that sometime. We'll have to connect with your 4-H agent afterwards. So we've had some questions that have come up about what are some things that military youth would like to hear, or maybe young people who are involved in the military who may not be involved in 4-H. Can you give us maybe one tip to an adult on how they can better market the 4-H program to our military connected youth? What are some of the things you've seen that have worked really well, perhaps?
I would say have your youth share the word as well, because there's nothing better than hearing about how great something is from somebody in a similar position as you, rather than somebody who is doing it as work. Somebody who doesn't have to do it, saying good things and great things about something, will always be more persuasive, I would say, because they're not required to do it. And especially from somebody our age, it's awesome.
Kara?
Yes, sir. Really just like making sure to get those life skills out there and really just like helping promote them and what all they could learn from 4-H. And that there's something for everyone. Like you don't have to have animals to show to be in 4-H. If you like sewing, there's fabrics and fashion. If you like cooking, there's food science. For starters, I didn't know that I was into STEM until I found out about this state STEM innovator program. And I was like, I want to do that and learn more about that. So really, there's just something for everyone. If you like something, there's gonna be a project for it.
Isabella?
I say Also, parental connection is also very important. As much as the kid can be involved, at the end of the day, it's the parents who have to allow them, have to drive them, and you want to build a connection with them as well. We have to build connection with our cadets and be like, hey, are you bringing your cadet to our meeting? And hey, do you need any help? Do you need any financial help? Is he doing okay in school? Because if you're gonna ask a kid if he's doing okay in school, I mean, you can get all the lies you want or all the truths you want, and at the end of the day, it's the parents that are gonna be like, "Oh, he's doing great," or "Oh no, we need help," or "Can you talk to him?" or "Can you help?" Anything.
Yeah, so we hear three really big themes here. The first one, as Braxton eloquently said, we have to utilize y'all more, young people to be the promoters of this. It's kind of like the Girl Scout cookie method. No one can turn down a Girl Scout cookie from a Girl Scout when they're selling them. You can turn down their mom, but you can't turn them down, when you're standing outside the Target. And what we heard from Kara about the really sharing the life skills building opportunities that this program offers. That's second to none. And then, as you shared, Isabella, with really getting the parents involved, so it's not just the young people, but the parents and also families, and kind of building off of that. How can programs better engage with military families so they're not just participating sporadically? Have you seen, ways that this has happened maybe virtually or in person? What's your suggestion on how we can best, create this sense of community and belonging for military connected 4-Hers?
I would say social media. It's so easy to access now, and so many people can get on it. That's probably one of the coolest parts because now, even earlier this morning, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw a video from the 4 H program I was a part of back in Naples. And that just like it warmed my heart because that's something I'm so fond of. And to see it still as I'm back in Virginia Beach, it's awesome.
Maybe planning events outside of project meetings or club meetings. Um, Something that people don't feel obligated to go to, but if they're gonna go, it's not just gonna be business and it's not just gonna be taking care of what they need to. They can have fun and they can relax with peers. And once they get to know their peers outside of the club meetings, maybe they're gonna have more fun in the club meetings because they've made a better connection.
Yeah, I also think kind of maybe just like events like this and building consistency and getting kids to talk to people that are maybe not in this organization.
Yeah. And have y'all seen that most of this works even best when young people themselves are helping plan these things, right? Or even the social media. I'm not sure, Braxton, if they're in Naples, it was run by young people involved. But any advice that you have for how, adults can get young folks more involved in that as well?
Giving them the opportunity to run social media platforms themselves. I know like everybody can say they have a social media platform and it just be like two or three videos of a piece of paper that you posted. But seeing videos of youth engaging in activities and maybe even like a funny AI video about why you should come join 4-H, I feel like everything like that to appeal to like the newer generation, I feel like that would help run things along.
Hmm. So what I'm hearing is we need to always be thinking of ways for young people to contribute, not only have these experiences themselves, but contribute to making the 4-H club stronger, to making their base community and even stronger as well, and really building that sense of belonging. There's untapped potential in the hands of young people, and so we should utilize that and leverage it. We're coming to a close now, and so we're going to end with one last question from each of you, and you can answer this in whatever order you'd like to. What's the single most important idea or advice that you want these youth professionals that are on the call today to remember as they continue their work with military connected 4-H youth?
I would say to give everybody the opportunity to grow and to try something different. anybody can say they don't like something, but after they try it once, it might be the thing for them. Not to close themselves off too early, because if you do, you never really get to experience life and how you can grow as a person.
Yes, I think be authentic, be genuine. We look for your support. We look up to all of you guys for your support and for your guidance, and not really do it for us, but help support us in our decisions and what we would like to do to help get out more. You guys are everyone's idol. Whether there's always someone in 4-H that looks up to you guys. So just keep doing you, and y'all are doing amazing.
I'd say it's just don't give up. I know in my teaching, in my leadership position, I'm just like, this kid does not want to participate, or this kid is not interested in this. When in reality, it's just that I'm not catering to them how they need it. I'm not making it interesting to them. So instead of just like, I guess I'll teach these 20 kids and this one kid, I guess he'll learn if he wants. We have to find ways to cater to everyone, whether it be a teaching different way or a different craft for that one kid. It's just, you got to keep getting on them, whether we like it or not.
That's amazing, y'all. You have to keep standing in the gap and cultivating those sparks for young people really to find their purpose. Thank you all for sharing your words of wisdom and your experiences from being involved in the military 4-H program. I have no doubt that you will go on to accomplish great things. And to all the adults here, I hope that you really resonated with the insights that were shared. Continue to stand in the gap and really be that mentor that young people need. Think creatively is what we heard from these young folks, about ways to incorporate and encourage not only the young people themselves, but also their families and their parents to be involved and never give up. These young people are exceptional that you see on this panel, but they're not exceptions to the rule. They're just a product of what happens when adults, are there along the ride, along the journey, continuing to hold their hand, giving them pushes along the way. The sky surely is the limit. So you've heard it now in their own words. So thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation. Back over to you, Miss Jenny.
Thank you so much, Tay. And thank you, Braxton, Bella, and Kara, for being with us today, for whatever was in your schedule and making time for us. I know Kara and Isabella are back at school. Braxton's about to be, and just to schedule us in on such a busy time just means a lot. To all of y'all who came today, too, I hope you are as inspired as I am. Harriet said at the beginning, I have no doubt Tay will be president one day, and I have banked on that and reminded him constantly that I knew him when. But I feel as I look at Braxton and Bella and Kara that you will be right there with them, leading our country into the future in so many different ways. And we're so excited that you chose to be part of today. Y'all listening, we heard from 3 exceptional teens, 3 very different stories in 3 states with 3 very different connections to military. One who, in herself, is working on an installation with young people as they build their leadership. One who actively, as a parent of a child of an active duty um, service member, is traveling and moving, and one who has been in one place but still impacted over and over. And through those 3 different stories, we heard 3 very similar themes. It matters that we create a place that you belong. It matters that an adult gives an opportunity to show up and lead. It matters to be able to be with other teens. And 4 H has made a difference for all 3 of them in different ways. So I hope as you continue on your day, whatever time of day it is for you, and into tomorrow and into your next days, that you think about how, as Tay eloquently say, we stand in the gap, and how for these 3, there are 3 more or 3,000 more like them in our communities. In fact, there's over 1 million like them in military connected communities. Let's continue to be beyond ready and inspire with our hearts and our minds that we can do great things and help them do great things.